Please stay tuned. Coming up after the Planning Commission is the State of the City virtual event.
I think Minot's community-minded businesses make it magic.
It's Prairie Grit.
Having a strong and progressive medical center like Trinity Health.
I believe Mesa really puts the magic in Minot.
Music is the heart and soul of Minot.
Meeting new faces over a cup of coffee.
Good friends.
Rediscover the magic in Minot.
Okay. Works for me.
We will renotice if there is going to be a meeting. The applicant could always withdraw their application. In that case, of course, we would not be noticing for now.
Right.
So, there's two people in teams right now.
Okay. Yep. All right, we'll call the February 2nd meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Call the roll, please.
Barnett,
Here.
Bauman. Demakis.
Here.
Fagan. Gates. Polkalter.
Here.
Coop. Leiter.
Here.
Alfredal.
Here.
Sessions.
Here.
Sievertson. And Wagonist.
Here.
All right.
I have a quorum. We'll stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. One housekeeping matter before we get going. Item number 10 on the agenda has been pulled by the applicant due to some current ongoing issues with the status of their organization. So at this time, that will not receive a hearing, but it may in the future if they choose to proceed. So that is off tonight's agenda. The first thing we have is kind of intro into quorum. We've had quite a bit of changeover on the commission with new additions, and just wanted to kind of refresh everybody's memory about what exactly we're here to do. And John, why can't I find that piece of paper? Do you happen to have one with you? I'm sure it's in my pile, but I didn't pull it out quick enough. So, just to kind of general overview real quick to kind of bring everybody up to speed since we have new commissioners. What's the purpose of this? Why are we here? Planning commissions to evaluate land use applications for compliance with the standards and procedural requirements within the zoning supplement to the City of Minot and North Dakota Century Code. Further, the Planning Commission is tasked to ensure development within the City of Minot aligns with the comprehensive plan. We have staff that's assigned to support the Planning Commission by reviewing applications, compliance with the zoning code, and alignment with the comprehensive plan. Staff summarizes the information in the form of written reports, and presentations are made which include a recommendation. The Commission is not required to follow staff recommendations. However, deviation from those may require clarification to the findings of fact, along with the reasoning for any alternative recommendation. Finally, staff is not able to anticipate all information entered into the record via Planning Commissioner discussions or provided by the public during the open comment period. They are available to answer any questions which may arise through the discussion. The Planning Commission renders a decision for variances that may be appealed to the City Council. The Planning Commission provides recommendations to the City Council for all their land use applications. So there's a little bit of clarity as to what is a final decision and what is not. So, and just some general things. We ask that when the public wants to address the commission, please come to the podium, state your name. Usually there's a sign-in sheet. We ask that you fill out your information. Address your testimony and comments to the chair and not to specific participants, the applicant, or the staff. The chair will determine the appropriateness of the questions and then direct them where they need to go. We ask others in attendance to await your opportunity. Please do not interrupt when somebody's speaking. And address the issues. The biggest thing I see is address the issues and the application that are before the commission. We apply the zoning regulations to the use of the property, whether or not what that property might be housing, be it, say, a gym, for instance. Well, if the gym can be in C2 and that property is zoned for C2, we're not here to determine whether there are too many gyms in town or whether that business will fail or not. That's irrelevant to the proceeding. It's a land use issue. So we ask that you just keep things on point. And finally, silence the electronics so that everybody's undisturbed. That's just kind of a general overview of the commission and what we're doing and what we like to hear. So hopefully everybody has a good overview of it from now on. This will be part of your informational materials if you ever need to look back on it. And I appreciate John for bringing that back to the forefront. think the last time it kind of was gone over was when I was put on planning commission, so it's been a couple of years, a good refresher for everybody. So with that, we'll move into the meat of today's meeting. Approval of the December 2020 regular meeting minutes. We did not have a January meeting.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Offerdahl to approve. Second by Commissioner Coop. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman, Demakis,
Yes.
Gates, Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Very good. The first application on the agenda is a request from Shane Pro to create a new subdivision from lots 7 and 8, Block 1 of Woodside 7th Edition with the intention of building a detached garage. The resulting lot will be known as Lot 1, Block 1, Woodside 20th. They're located at 3300 and 3301 Spruce Lane Southeast. And we'll turn it over to staff for the report.
All right, thank you, Chairman Demakis. So this property is on the southeast side of town. It's located near the northwestern side of the golf course. Now, so this is the preliminary plat for Woodside 20th Edition. It's, this way looking at it right now, it does seem like a big lot for R1 zoning. However, both properties they're zoned R1. This is just a lot split ultimately with it. They meet all the requirements to be R1, though looking at the future land use map with it, they are both designated as low density residential. Now, low density residential for the comprehensive plan does have a 4 to 6 unit per acre density. So the entire edition this came from did have a density, well, the Woodside 7th edition. So that had a density of about 1.44 units per acre. This brings it down to 1.33 units per acre. So small reduction. Ultimately, that is due to the topography of it. So looking at the topographic map, it's fairly significant for the topography. Drops about 80 feet from the front of the property, abutting the street to the back. So while it may have, looks like it's actually adding a lot of land to the property itself, it's actually only increasing the buildable area by about 10%. So it's a fairly small addition that's being created with this lot consolidation. So now, despite the fact it doesn't quite actually line up with the comprehensive plan based off of low density residential, it does line up with housing goal number 1 from the comprehensive plan, which states that we have to ensure that housing development is compatible with the existing and adjacent land uses while providing accessibility of public infrastructure, key community features, and natural amenities. And this does align with the actual goal that is there. Moving on to the findings of fact, the applicant has submitted a completed application. It's consistent with the future land use map through the goal, though it doesn't meet the density requirements. The density is due to the topography. It's consistent with the bulk requirements of the ordinance, and you guys, the Planning Commission does have the right to recommend approval or denial to City Council. Finally, for staff's recommendation, staff recommends approval. Staff recommends that Planning Commission adopt the findings of fact, recommend approval to City Council subject to the following conditions. So these first 4 conditions come from the engineering department. So the sidewalk is required to be completed along the vacant portion of Spruce Lane where lot 8 is of the Woodside 7th edition. Driveways must be 24 feet apart. The final plat shall include 10 feet of additional storm sewer easements. The final plat may require an additional sanitary sewer easement to ensure 10 feet in each side of the existing pipe. And from our own zoning code, we have the final plat shall include an adequate easement for the purpose of widening, deepening, sloping, improving, or protecting the stream or drainage course as determined by the city council. And after that, we do have just our normal boilerplate, which essentially states that they have 6 months to go after it goes to planning commission to get the final plat in. Otherwise, it's the plat will be dead in the water, for lack of a better term. Now, if you have any further questions, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from the commission for staff? All right, hearing none, we will open the hearing. And is there anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Anybody who wishes to speak on this application at all? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission.
Move to approve based on staff recommendations and conditions.
Motion by Commissioner Coop to approve based on staff's findings of fact and recommendations.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barnett. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we shall call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman, Demakis,
Yes.
Gates, Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Very good, the motion carries. The next item of business is an outplat and zone district change, comp plan land use map amendment in regards to section 21, 155 north, range 83 west, outlot 31, the northeast quarter, the southwest quarter. It's a request by by Gravel Products Inc. as applicant and owner to plat an outlot from an unplatted portion of the northeast southwest of 21, 155-83 to be known as outlot 31 of the northeast southwest section 21, 155-83. The applicant is also requesting a zoning district change from Ag AG to P Public Zone and to amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan with a conceptual greenway connection overlay to public, semi-public with no change to the greenway connection overlay boundaries. This property is part of an unplatted portion of the northeast quarter, the southwest quarter of section 21, 155-83. So we will turn it over to staff for the report on this, please.
All right, thank you, Chairman Demakis. So this outlot is another continuation of the Source River Joint Board's flood protection project. So looking at the aerial view, this is on the south, out by Tercito Vallejo and Gravel Products gravel pit. So looking at to the south of the proposed outlot, which is shown in red on the aerial view, we have the Swenson's addition, which was the previous step in the process that went through Planning Commission in July. Now, so looking at, this is just the outlot plat that was submitted. It's showing that the overall outlot is about 3.66 acres. Not much more to say about the outlot plat overall. It is Exhibit 2 on the staff report. Looking at the existing zoning, so currently the property in question is zoned AG for agricultural district, and the applicant is looking at changing it to P Public to be in alignment with what was done at Swenson's addition in July. So that will be extending the public that's shown in gray on the map to the north across the railroad tracks. So looking at the future land use map itself, the area currently has the dual designation of low-density residential with conceptual greenway connections. Now, that is going to be changed to match the public zoning that's being changed to public, semi-public with conceptual greenway connections. Yeah. So findings fact, the applicant met the pre-application requirements in section 16-7. That's a public zone property, so we have to have a pre-application meeting with a planning commissioner and a city council member. So that did happen before the application. they submit the application itself. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan, and it will reflect it more so once it actually gets amended to be public, semi-public. The change from ag to public will bring into alignment with the future land use map, even more so, and in alignment with the plan that was submitted and the city signed on to for the Source River Joint Board's flood protection plan. And finally, the Planning Commission, once again, does have the authority to hear the case and recommend it be approved or denied to City Council. So the findings of fact, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the findings of, actually, it's recommendation, adopt the staff finding of fact and recommends approval to City Council of a zoning map amendment from AG Agricultural District to P Public District, and to amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan from low-density residential with a conceptual greenway connection to public, semi-public with a conceptual greenway connection. There is no change to the conceptual greenway connection boundaries that are affected through this amendment, and to recommend approval of the preliminary plat as presented in Exhibit 2. And this will all be subject to the following conditions. And that's just the boilerplate condition we have for outlots and subdivisions, that they have 6 months to get it in. Otherwise, they'll have to reapply because the plat would have died. Now, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is there any questions for staff from the commission? All right, seeing none, thank you, sir. We will open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to? Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Anyone who wants to speak on either side? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing. Is there a motion from the commission? Motion by Commissioner Bauman to approve, based on staff finding of fact and recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Holkalter. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. We'll call a roll, please.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman, Tomegas,
Yes.
Gates, Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. Our next agenda item is a zoning district change regarding subdivision of Lot 2, Block 20, Prairie Green, seconded, less a portion to Lot 1, Highland Plaza addition. It's a request on an application from Willie Fieldhaber for a zoning district change for subdivision of Lot 2, Block 20, Prairie Green, second edition, Lot A, less a portion to Lot 1, Highland Plaza addition, from C4, planned commercial, to C2, general commercial, for the purpose of building design alterations. This property is located at 1515 24th Avenue Southwest. We'll turn it over to staff for your report, please.
So the property is located to the west of Target and west of Hall. This is the vicinity map.
John, is your mic on? Sorry. Didn't sound like it.
Okay. Is that better? All right. So this property is located to the west of Target in the Dakota Square Mall. And what you see is the red property boundary is the subject property, and then the purple would be the notification area. So with regard to C4 planned commercial, that zoning district, it's a defunct zone, and it's specifically tied to the design of the building and the layout of the lot itself, the building placement on the lot. The applicant has plans to rehab the structure significantly, both in terms of the building design and the potential uses for the site. Most specifically, the proposed drive-through facility to what would be the southeast boundary of the property. So this would require and the C4 Plan Commercial to come before Planning Commission regardless, just to get approval of these design changes. So this is, again, a defunct zone that the city no longer implements for new projects. And within section 1-26 of the zoning code, we have this table that kind of guides us and tells us, all right, well, this is the old zone. Here's the most equivalent zone that's appropriate to assign when evaluating proposals. So in this case, it would be a C2 general commercial district and a planned unit development. Largely that's tied to the design requirements. So to save the applicant time and in case they want to amend the design of their structure or the site, give them that flexibility. Nothing about this particular site warrants having a PUD overlay, which is reserved for unique developments that cannot function without further evaluation. In this case, all the proposed uses, the lot size, the height of the structure, everything is in alignment with the C2 zone. So the PUD is simply not warranted. So as you can see, it is encased in C4. Staff does not find that this is a spot zone because it's a defunct zone. So we would more than likely prefer to see the vast majority of these properties rezoned to just general commercial. As you can see, one to the northwest is done already. Future land use for this entire area is commercial. And the findings of fact, I'm not going to go over them in great detail. They effectively summarize what is written in the staff report and effectively touch on everything I just mentioned previously in the slides, which lead us into staff's recommendation. So staff's recommendation is to approve the zone change from C4 Plan Commercial to C2 General Commercial District without any accompanying conditions. So staff will stand for questions.
Very good. Is there any questions for staff from the commission? All right, hearing none, we'll open the public portion of the hearing. Excuse me, is there anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of the application? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? Is there anybody who wishes to speak on either side? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public hearing and turn over to the commission. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wagonus to approve based on findings of fact and recommendations, I assume?
Yes.
Yes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Leiter. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call a roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman, Demakis,
Yes.
Gates, Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. We'll move on to the next item, which is a conditional use permit. Regards to lots 4 and 5, Energy Park First Edition. It's a request on an application from Eric Carnell, the applicant representing FBN Inputs LLC, for a conditional use permit for hazardous material storage on lots 4 and 5 of Energy Park First Edition. The properties are located at 320 and 420 64th Street Southeast. We'll turn over to staff for the report, please.
Thank you, Chairman Demakis, Planning Commissioners. So again, here's the subject properties in question in red. We've got purple or pink with regard to the notification area, and then in this case, we've got the city limit boundaries. So this property is within the city limits. The property is located within an existing industrial park on the far east side of town. Railroad tracks are approximately 1,200 feet to the north, and Highway 2 is approximately 900 feet to the south. The nearest home appears to be 1,250 feet to the east of the subject property. The zoning for the immediate area is a mix of light and heavy industrial and agriculture. Non-hazardous storage is allowed, is an allowed use in M1. Hazardous storage is conditionally permitted, so that's why we're here tonight. Future land use for the area is largely industrial to the north of Highway 2 in this section of town, and then commercial to the south side of Highway 2. As far as the specific hazardous materials that can be found in Exhibit 4 of the staff report, this is just one image. So there's 3 pages within the staff report that outline the particular concoctions that are being requested to be approved. The building and fire departments have reviewed the materials for storage for all of these and have provided guidance to the applicant with regard to modifications that will be required at the building permit phase of this project. So there's still some modification that will be carried out by the applicant. They're well aware of all this, so it's not something that's going to affect without safety being considered. Findings of fact, again, outline the presentation provided in the written staff report, as well as in the slides I just provided, which leads to the recommendation. So staff does have some conditions that follow the recommendation for approval. So I'll just read those to you real quick. Storage of hazardous materials, temporary or otherwise, is restricted to the permitted structure located at 420 64th Street Southeast. So this is not an open storage permit. So we're specifying it must be contained within the existing structure known as 420 64th Street Southeast. The approved list of hazardous material storage is limited to those provided in Exhibit 4. And this one's a little lengthy. But any changes to the approved list of hazardous materials, it's defined in Title 49 of the Code of Federal Regulations at Section 171.8, exceeding the reportable quantities defined in the same title. Section 171.101 requires review by both the building official and fire department for compliance with the building and fire codes in effect at the time of the requested change, and the permitted structure shall be modified as necessary prior to the storing of any new hazardous material. What this is saying is that there's specific quantities, thresholds that, once triggered, declare it to be a hazardous material. And that's what we refer to, and that's established at the federal regulatory level. So if they have new quantities that meet those thresholds for chemicals that aren't already contained on that hazardous materials list, we want to make sure that building and fire have a chance to evaluate those, and that the existing the modifications that were made to accommodate that hazardous material, that structure is brought up to the compliance to the existing code, at the time of application. So we just want to make sure that even if codes change, if they're going to change that hazardous materials list, that they modify the structure accordingly to meet the most current codes for safety purposes. And this is just within our zoning ordinance. Any change in ownership requires renewal of the conditional use permit. So that's codified. That's a requirement of all conditional use permits. And that would be it. And staff will stand for questions.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the commission for staff? All right, hearing none, we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of the application? Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition of the application? Anybody who wishes to speak on the application either way? All right. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission. Is there a motion to be had?
Motion to approve based on staff finding of fact and conditions.
Motion by Commissioner Wagness for approval, second by Commissioner Coop. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman, Demakis,
Yes.
Gates, Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is zoning change regarding lots 4 and 5 of Thompson's 6th plat. Request from Yvette Melby, owner, for a zoning district change from R3 multiple residence to RM medium density residential for lots 4 and 5, Thompson's 6th plat, for the purpose of constructing a convalescent home. Property is located at 4 39th Avenue Southwest. I will turn it over to staff for the report.
Thank you, Chairman Dominguez, Planning Commissioners. So again, with all the others, subject properties highlighted in red. The 300-foot notification area is provided in pink or purple. The property is just east across Highway 83 from Walmart, so give a better context to where this property is. There's a number of surrounding land uses in this area. There's a variety of different type of multifamily housing, single-family residential. There's apartments to the southeast, there's commercial to the west. And this color coding kind of shows that there's no shortage of a mix within the neighborhood itself. We've seen this before, section 1-26. This is our zoning equivalency table. R3 and R3B, multiple residence district. Again, this one's R3, attempting to be rezoned to RM. R3 is a defunct zone. RM is the zone that we refer to. In this case, the applicant, what the applicant desires to do is for a new construction of convalescent home is to rezone their property. And convalescent home is a permitted use in R3 in the previous zoning supplement to the city of Minot, and it's a permitted use in RM. So staff's perspective, this is absolutely a lateral transfer. This is bringing it up to par with our current zoning code, and for that matter, the proposed code that will come before this commission in March. So again, similar to the C4 planned commercial to C2, staff does not consider this spot zoning as the equivalency table recognizes that as a previous zoning code that we no longer use. So this is just bringing the area into compliance with our zoning code. Future land use map provides this area as medium density residential. The west along frontage road and then further Broadway is commercial. We did receive some public comments, which appears, we had several 11th hour public comments, and we have 3 of them here. So I'm going to go ahead and put those up on screen. And as a courtesy to the commenter, I'll just read this out. So David Tweeten, 3710 First Street Southeast. As a property owner within the notification boundary of the requested zoning district change for lots 4 and 5 Thompson's 6th plat, I have strong reservations for allowing the construction of a convalescent home without being given any details other than that single fact. It would only be reasonable to know the specific use for the home and details as to number of beds and working personnel, the type of construction proposed, and if there will be adequate parking for starters. With the modicum of information provided, at this time I'll have to voice my objection to this change of zoning and hope that you will recommend to deny this request. Thank you. Moving forward, Tammy White, 3740 First Street Southeast. My husband and I are property owners that may be adversely affected by the proposed zoning changes for lots 4 and 5 Thompson's 6th plat. We own lots 60 and 70 and also another house on our street in the South Fork Division, as well as partial ownership in the Pines on 37th Apartment Complex. We are opposed to this proposed request for zoning change. We have received very little information on what kind of convalescent home this will be or already is. We are also concerned with the parking situation, as I have already stated, that we are partial owners in the apartment complex adjacent to the home and are not wanting or needing any extra cars parking in our lot. How many people are allowed to reside in this facility, and also employees need parking? It has come to my attention that this facility has been running since 2019, and just now we are finding out about it and are wondering what is changing in the facility that they are now needing to rezone the properties. Are they expanding or just remodeling? And finally, Danielle Gagny. As resident of First Street Southeast, I oppose this proposed zoning change until there's more information provided to the surrounding residents. We have already had issues with Main Street residents passing through our yards to get to Radio City Park. So I guess myself and my neighbors are looking for more details. This proposal, presumably, is very vague. Thank you for your time. So those are the public comments that we received, and I'm just going to go ahead for everybody's benefit. So we have a noon hour deadline. The reason we have that is so we can incorporate it into the slides themselves to present. Obviously, there's other things, other 11th hour issues that are going on throughout the day leading up to the Planning Commission public hearing. So that's why we have that noon hour cutoff. Otherwise, people can submit them after the fact. We'll do our best to incorporate them, but there's just no guarantee. And so always welcome to attend in person if you're not able to make that deadline. And these staff, they were noticed, property owners in the vicinity were noticed approximately 10 to 14 days ago is when they would have received those letters. And so there's been ample time to reach out to staff and ask questions with regard to the background of the application. It's difficult, again, to respond to inquiries leading up to the day of the Planning Commission hearing. Otherwise, I'm going to just keep moving forward. We've got findings of fact. So the applicant did submit the complete application. I do want to point out that RM, the full title is RM Medium Density Residential, which aligns with the comp plan future land use designation of medium density residential. The change in zoning district from R3, again, to RM will bring the property into conformity with the current code and the proposed, in case anybody's wondering. The zoning amendment request would not detract from the existing character of the neighborhood, and Minot Planning Commission has the authority to hear the case. Staff's recommendation is approval to City Council, the zoning map amendment from R3 Multiple Residence District to RM Medium Density Residential District. And there are no accompanying conditions. And I will stand for questions.
All right, thank you for the report. Is there any questions from the commission for staff?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Wagness, go ahead, sir.
I'd like to hear a little more about the parking situation on this property. I drove by last night, and I know it could potentially become an issue.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman Dominguez and Commissioner Wiggins. Let me grab my cheat sheet that I pulled for this. Perfect. So as far as parking goes, we would apply the same parking standards as a nursing home. And what those are is 1 space per 6 beds, plus 1 space per employee on the largest work shift. So the nature of the convalescent home is typically not auto-centric, and therefore employees certainly need to be provided parking, but the beds themselves are reserved for those that are not as likely to be using automobiles. As far as the definition of a nursing home, an extended or intermediate care facility licensed or approved to provide full-time convalescent or chronic care to individuals who by reason of advanced age, chronic illness, or infirmity are unable to care for themselves. They will absolutely have to meet the parking requirements, on-site parking requirements, setbacks, landscaping, all the zoning requirements for that district. So that's not going away. Through this request. It's, again, just bringing it into alignment with our current code naming convention effectively.
Very good. Any other questions for staff?
Expect to see.
Sure, thanks. Chairman Dominguez, Commissioner Bauman. Presently, the applicant owns, again, this is 2 lots that they're securing. So they're 75 by 120 foot lots. There's 2 of them there. The rear yard currently, not the rear yard, but one of the lots currently contains the garage to support the other home on site. It's my understanding that it's utilized as a convalescent home as well, and that they may have 4 individuals living there. I'm not sure. I'm going to leave that to the applicant to explain if they're here to speak to their application. As far as what would change, that lot is a buildable lot, and so it would receive all the entitlements. So there would be some vertical structure, some vertical development that would go there. And again, I'll just put add this premise to it. Always be cautious with regard to intent of an applicant, because once entitled, intent is very time-based. So intent can change tomorrow. I think what I encourage the Planning Commission to do is evaluate whether or not this zoning designation is appropriate based on the comprehensive plan and the adjacent area zoning designation in this case. Does it align? And we do have a table that helps with that and ties R3 to RM. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions for staff on this application? All right, thank you. And we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of this application? Is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition of the application? Or anybody who has anything they would like to say in regards to the application? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and open it up to the commissioners. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve based on staff finding of fact, and I'll add the engineer department conditions.
Motion by Commissioner Wageness based on staff's finding of fact and recommendations, as well as the engineering department's requirements or recommendations, I'm sorry.
Recommendations, yeah.
Recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Offerdahl. Any discussion? Okay, we'll call the roll, please.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Demekis,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
No.
no, and Wagenist.
Yes.
All right, the yeses have it.
Motion carries. Last item on the agenda tonight is a hearing or request from the applicant James R. Myers, owner, to create a new subdivision from Block 4 Livingston's 7th edition. The resulting subdivision will be known as Livingston's 9th edition. The property is located across the street to the south of 801 and 905 21st Avenue Southeast. We'll turn it over to staff for the report.
All right, as soon as the PowerPoint catches up. Let's see. Recommendations. One sec. All right, so Livingston 9th edition. Livingston's 9th edition is located on the southeast side of town. It's off the Highway 2 and 52 bypass, and it's near the Trinity East Ridge facility that is to the west of Lot 2. So on this map, the property itself is subject properties. They like it to be split into is shown in red, and the city limits are in blue. So this is in the current city limits. Now, the property is going to be split into two pieces, roughly. It's about 10 acres each, more or less. It's rough because it's overall about 20. So it's on the preliminary plat there. So existing zoning, the property is currently zoned C2. This is just a lot split, so there's no intention by the applicants to go and have it changed from anything else but C2. The current future land use map shows, or depicts rather, the property as also being commercial. That matches the request of the applicants, and staff sees no reason why that should be changed either. So overall, it also does align with land use, with one of the land use goals from the comprehensive plan, specifically Commercial Industrial Goal 1, which states that we should expand and diversify the city's tax base by encouraging new commercial industrial development. The property as it exists now is currently a huge vacant property out on the southeast side of town. So by having a split, it opens it up for more businesses to go in, because maybe they weren't looking at such a big lot. So this will ultimately work out better for any future development. Now, it also lines with goal 2 of policy 2 from the land use portion of the comprehensive plan, which is to ensure developments meet the standards specified within the land use plan and official controls, including zoning, subdivision ordinances, and official maps, which by going through this process is ensuring that it does meet this goal. So the findings of fact, they did submit a complete application. It is consistent with the comprehensive plan, specifically the 2 land uses that I had mentioned prior. It meets the bulk requirements, and Planning Commission does have the authority to hear the case and recommend approval or denial to City Council. So staff recommendations, staff recommends Planning Commission adopt the staff findings of fact, recommend approval to City Council, subject to the following conditions: that the recordable plat shall include the current floodplain per section 28-44 related to the provision of an easement along streams shall be included on the recordable plat, subject to the approval of the engineering department. And then the boilerplate that we have for all of our subdivisions, that no later than 6 months after it's been the preliminary plat has been approved by City Council, that they have to go and submit the finalized plat. And if they don't, then the plat will have to be resubmitted at a later date to actually go through. All right, if there are any further questions, or any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions for staff on the application? All right. Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on behalf of the application? Anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? And anybody who wishes to speak at all on the application? All right. Hearing no discussion, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission. Is there a motion?
A motion to approve based on the finding of fact and staff recommendations.
Motion by Commissioner Offerdahl to approve based on findings of facts and recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Hochhalter. Or was it Wagonist? I'm sorry. Can't tell. Okay, Hochhalter. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Demakis,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Leiter,
Yep.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
and Wagonist.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. That is the end of the regular agenda. Is there any other business? Sorry.
Yes. Chairman Demakis, yes, there's just, real quick, 2 items. So, update, zoning ordinance steering committee voted to approve the proposed ordinance subject to some minor revisions. So staff's made the majority of those changes, and a copy of the revised code is on our website. You're welcome also to email staff, and we can get you a copy of that link directly. That'll be presented to Planning Commission at the March hearing, so look forward to that. And then also with regard to an update, we had discussed reappointments to planning commissioners. So this is how it shook out. So if you don't feel bad if you're on one of those timelines that's early on. Really, it shouldn't have changed more than plus or minus 6 months. Chairman Demakis volunteered to go ahead of time. But what we'll do is around September, October, we'll reach out to you, ask you if you're interested in continuing forward, and this will happen each year. And then, depending on your response, that's we'll bring the new resolution before City Council for reappointment. And this only applies to City Council appointed planning commissioners. So county appointed planning commissioners are appointed by the county. So then that's why you're not in here, and that's why we didn't reappoint. So otherwise, that would be the end of the updates.
Very good. Thank you, sir. There being no other business then, thank you all for coming.